a lot to talk about. We have a lot of... so what's this about 50,000 Bitcoin that I mentioned, right? I did see this, and I did pull this chart from that article. And this is just looking at a Fibonacci level, the 1.618 level. And why this is important is because previous times when Bitcoin has fallen down, okay, to its low after a bear market, after a huge correction, right? We tend to see these tremendous rises, tremendous recovery afterwards. And that point is important because we have seen something like that happen. I mean, actually, not just once, but very often. In 2019, it happened. So take a look right now. According to halving cycle, right? If you look at where we are, we're exactly where we are supposed to be. Coming off from the top, going back down to that very low bottom point and recovering upwards, right? And in 2018, leading to 2019, Bitcoin had a tremendous run up to that same Fibonacci level, right? It went from 3,000 to 14,000 within a matter of months. And then unfortunately we came back down again a little bit because it was a little bit too fast, right? So if you're looking at our current trajectory, which is in red right now, right? We're at exactly the point before Bitcoin tends to run up quite a lot because we're coming off from bottom. Now the blue one, that was 2 cycles ago. So that one was, it's a little bit off because Bitcoin was much smaller then. Obviously no institutional adoption, no country adoption, no any adoption really, just driven by retail investors. The 2017 cycle, the one last time, you know, a little bit more money, right? The dollar amount obviously bigger, and just, you know, DeFi was getting started. But this time around, we have a whole bunch more. So this recovery up could be quite tremendous, right? And we're talking about this is just this year. This is not even after the halving event. Just the recovery alone for this year could be tremendous. So this is showing if we get to that point, we're talking about in the 50,000 range. Well, a few other people that are very bullish, Mike Novogratz at Galaxy Digital says, you would not be surprised if Bitcoin has 30,000 by the end of this quarter. That means by the end of March. Can Bitcoin hit 30,000, seeing how we're at 24,000? Yeah, we could be at 30,000 in no time. Take a look at this, a $2 billion initiative to back Web3 startups. You know, again, you're just seeing like endless money that is coming into this space, right? There's just so much appetite for basically Bitcoin, Ethereum, Web 3.0, blockchain, decentralization around the world. Global adoption is happening right in front of our eyes. Now, the other thing, the big thing got to talk about is this continuing FUD, basically caused by the SEC. So, SEC is going to sue Paxos, okay? And Paxos is a stablecoin maker. In case people didn't know, Binance's BUSD is created and minted and basically managed by Paxos. Binance really has nothing to do with it. They just gave the rights to Paxos to do it. So the SEC decided to sue them. And after that, the New York Department of Financial Services also decided to go after them. Okay. Now, what does this mean? This comes right after the SEC attacked staking, right? They went to Kraken. They didn't go to Coinbase. They didn't go to someone else that could actually defend themselves. They went to Kraken because they knew Kraken would fold. And it's the same thing, same playbook. They went to Paxos, okay? They said, basically, people are wondering what reason they gave, but overall, they're trying to declare a stablecoin a security, which there's no way it fits their Howey test because no one buys a stablecoin as an investment because it never goes up. It's at $1. How could it go up? You can't buy it as investment. You're buying a stablecoin for means of transfer or just means of storage of your money in crypto format, but you're not buying stablecoins to make money, right? But it seems like the SEC wants to declare stablecoins as securities. And the reason why they went to Paxos, just like the reason why they went to Kraken, is because Paxos is a smaller company. They know they can force them to comply. People are still fed up, right? People are still fed up. Robert Kiyosaki, he paints a gloomy picture almost every single day, but what he said is true. Fed forced to print billions in fake money. Well, actually, you just take that back a few years. You should say trillions in fake money. He makes some predictions about Bitcoin being at 500,000, silver at 5,000, or gold at 5,000, silver at 500, Bitcoin at 50,000, right? People are fed up because, yes, not only is crypto being highly regulated, but mainly because the Fed and the governments around the world and central banks, they just continue to print money and print more money and more money and more money and more money. And we're going through that already. We have a debt ceiling crisis in the U.S., right? We spend way more than we earn, and if we can't raise the ceiling, well, then everything shuts down and we're in total disaster. So, of course, the ceiling is going to be raised. We had several months now where inflation showed, we were heading in the right direction, which is lower. But now we're kind of coming to a halt, coming to a stop, and that's no good. So bringing up all the categories, all the sectors that was measured, what stood out the most? Well, this right here stood out a lot. I'm highlighting it here. There's a lot to see, but energy services, the biggest one is utility piped gas service. Went up 6.7%. It's a huge rise. I don't know why piped gas service, I'm assuming like natural gas, went up almost 7% in January. And there's the market bell. Best bell in the industry. So overall, that brought up energy services up quite a bit. Also, energy went up. Gasoline went up about 2.4% after falling 7% in December. So look at that. We fell 7% and then went up 2.4%. So obviously, that brought the energy sector up a little bit. Food is still on the rise. A lot of you guys know, like, things like eggs are still very expensive. And then new car sales, used car sales, commodities overall went up, and shelter also went up. So shelter right here, 0.7%. Transportation services went up 0.9%. So I think the biggest thing is energy with gas service, and then energy itself, meaning like fuel and gasoline went up. But then, if you look at everything pretty much went up. We didn't see any significant declines, really. Used car prices went down 1.9%. Okay. Fuel. Okay, so fuel went down 1.2%, not counting gasoline, which is strange. Like motor oil, I don't know what that's measuring. Gasoline went up, but fuel went down. I don't know, diesel maybe. No, that should be. I don't know if that counts under gasoline, but I mean, basically January showed everything went up, and that's not good. That's not good overall. There's more talks about this debt ceiling, right? A lot of people saying, hey, you know what? The U.S. could default. Bad things could happen if we don't get some kind of deal to raise the debt ceiling once again. And you guys know, at least you should know, because I've been talking about this, the debt ceiling is basically the U.S. government being, well, the ceiling's there trying to make us be responsible, but raising it continuously forever is us being irresponsible. It's like having a credit card debt that you max out every single month. So you call the credit card vendor and say, hey, can you lift my limit from 10,000 to 12,000 to 10 trillion or 30 trillion? Let's up it to 40 trillion. That's exactly what this means. we're being fiscally irresponsible. So maybe, number one, Bitcoin pumped up today because you had some people or maybe institutions or big boys, and I'll get to that in a little bit. They're like, okay, this is no good. This is no good. We need to spend our dollars on something that won't inflate away and its buying power won't keep decreasing infinitely, right? And they turn to Bitcoin